Hi everyone, Success Coach Michelle Weimer here with this week's Masterful Mindset. So our thought this week is strength of character doesn't always mean how you behave before you've broken. It more so means how you behave once you've broken. So based on this concept, last week we began to talk about character traits. And so I want to take it a step farther. Of course, we talked last week about how your character traits show through based on your actions and your behaviors. But even more so than when everything's going fine. I mean, let's face it, it's easy to be cheery and happy and easygoing when everything's going your way. But your character really shows through when you're faced with adversity. So today we're gonna talk about your character and how it shows up in the face of adversity. So I would ask you to think about this. What kind of character traits come through when you are challenged, when maybe you are being tested, or you're experiencing failure or having difficulty with something. And it can be everything from a small, simple problem at home. Maybe you're, trying to fix your kitchen sink and water's going everywhere, to something really serious, perhaps life-threatening, or a really big difficulty that you're facing in your life. So how do you show up in the face of adversity? How resilient are you? How persistent are you? Or how positive are you? How courageous are you? How do you show up? So I'm going to tell you a little story about something that happened to me. And again, this is one of those on the side of maybe not too horrible, but it was still something that occurred to me recently. I was shooting a live video with a group for my upcoming retreat, and I was using a system that I'd never used before. And I admit I'm not the most tech savvy, so I'm using this system, and I screwed up. I flat out made a mistake, and I was having some troubles with the system that I was using. And so this is what happened. I actually, once I realized that I had made a mistake, that I was not doing something right, I had a choice, and I could have freaked out, obviously. Although I was on the call live, I didn't. So what I did do was I laughed at myself, which is part of my character. I like to laugh and joke and have fun. I owned it. I owned that I had made a mistake, because I think that's really important, and it shows character in the sense that you don't always have to hide or make excuses when you make mistakes. And we all make mistakes, we're human. But when we really, in my eyes, that would be kind of almost lying or being dishonest or blaming somebody else or being a victim of circumstances. I just flat out said, I messed up, guys, I'm so sorry. And I owned it. And then I kept going. I persevered. I kept pushing through. I figured out how to fix it, which, is a part of perseverance and a part of facing adversity. Is, it's not that we always have to know everything and how to do everything. Sometimes our greatest excellence comes in being willing to learn and being willing to make that effort to continue to grow and learn. So, first of all, I showed my own courageousness, which is something that I'm working on for myself personally. And I would challenge anybody out there who's not taken any bold actions or challenged themselves lately to do that. Get out there, try something new that you haven't done in a while, because it will test your character. And so I showed up courageously in the sense that I tried a new system that I'd never used before. And I don't always consider myself the most tech savvy, but I went for it anyway. I made a mistake, and I stuck with what was going on. I laughed at myself. I owned the situation and the mistake that I had made. I persevered and I pushed through and I figured it out. And we moved on. And to be honest, I actually got a message from one of the women who was on the call later, and she thanked me for being real and honest and for being vulnerable with the group. And it inspired her. It inspired her to step out of her own comfort zone of wanting to hide and not take those kinds of risks, and do make some bold moves of her own. So you also never know when someone's watching you, whether it, again, in times of good, where it's really easy to show up as your best self, and in times of difficulty and adversity, when maybe your best self is struggling. Your character can show through. So I want to challenge you this week to think about that. How do you show up in the face of adversity? And if you don't like those character traits that you possess that show up when you are faced with adversity, then think about some character traits that you would like to possess, how you'd like to change that. Maybe think of some people who are a role model or an example for you in your life, and then start working on those. Challenge yourself to be your best, whether it's a great day or whether it's a very difficult day. So until next time, this is Success Coach Michelle Weimer. Goodbye for now.